Hi guys, it's been a while, hasn't it? I got a few new bits of kit that I was needing for making the videos, and now I'm back, gonna give it another go, see how we go. First video back the new year, I am going to do my TBR, but I'm changing it up how I do a TBR. I'm not doing a monthly one anymore, that was too strict, I just never stuck to it. So I'm going to do them quarterly, and I'm going to pick 10 books that I want to get done, and then any others I'll just pick and choose how I feel, what I want to read on the day. So let's get into it. So I'm pretty much just going to list the books on my TBR. I'm not going to say much of a description because a lot of them are sequel books in a series, and I don't want to put any spoilers out there, and then some of them I just don't know anything about, so I'm not going to put any descriptions, I'm just going to list them. If you want to talk about any of them, drop it down in the comments, but use spoiler warnings. So most of you will have seen TBRs of other booktubers with this book in it this month. Mike's Book Reviews is doing a massive read along of this series over the next 2 years, and I thought I'd give it a go. So it's going to be Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson, Book 1, and Malazan, Book of the Fallen. Now I know nothing about this book or this series. All I know is that it's a 10-book epic fantasy series that some people say is the best thing they've ever read. But nobody can tell you what it's about. So I've seen a few booktubers try recently, and I've just been too scared to click on the videos in case there's any spoilers. So I'm going to read this in January, and the second book on the TBR is Dead House Gates, which is book 2 of the series. I'm going to read that in February, March. If I don't like those 2 books, I think I'll quit there, but hopefully I love it, and we'll see soon. So there's quite a few people doing a read along for this series as well. The next book's on the TBR. And the first one is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, book 1 of the Fire Sewer trilogy, and then also book 2, Royal Assassin. So I don't know much about this series either. All I know is I have not heard anyone say a bad word about Robin Hobb. Whatever she writes seems to be gold. This trilogy is part of a massive series called The Realm of the Elderlings. So I'm going to try this trilogy and probably the second trilogy, Live Ship Traders. I'll give it those 2 because a lot of people say Live Ship Traders is much better than the first trilogy, even though the first trilogy is awesome, but the second one's better. So I'll give it the 2, and hopefully I'll love it. If not, I'll probably leave it there. But as far as I'm aware, the first trilogy follows a boy named Fitz. The first book is when he's a kid, second book teenager to young adult, I think, and then the third book he's an adult, and he's training to be an assassin, I think, but I've been told there's not actually much killing or much assassin work goes on in these books, more of like a character study, and I've heard it's very depressing. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm going to give it a shot. So last year I read pretty much nothing but fantasy, and I'm wanting to branch out a bit this year. So the next 2 books are different genres, and I'm going to try and read one of each genre, but like alternating months. So first month I'm going to read a classic, second month I'm going to read a sci-fi. So for January I'm going to read The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. So again, I don't know much about this book, but what I have heard is it's possibly the ultimate revenge tale. Kind of like a riches to rags and back to riches, I think. I've just heard nothing but good things, even though it is very long. I'm reading a lot of very long books in this TBR. I want to try it. It's probably going to be the longest classic I read this year. I'm jumping into the deep end, and hopefully I love it. Now, the sci-fi book that I want to read is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. So I loved the inheritance cycle, I think is what his young adult books were, like the Eragon books is what I always called them. Loved them. Not sure how it's going to transfer to sci-fi. I've heard mixed things. Some people think it's quite a good book, some people think it's not worth the paper it's written on. So me not being used to sci-fi, I thought if he's from a fantasy background it might not be too hard of a sci-fi book, so it might be a good place to start. We'll see. I'm going to give it a go anyway. Hopefully I love it. Now the last 4 books I'm going to talk about are continuations of series or series that I just need to finish. And this next book, I really need to finish this series. Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, book 3 of Mistborn Era 1. So I've been putting this book off since the summer. About June, July, I finished Well of Ascension. I absolutely loved it. No idea why I've left it this long to read Hero of Ages. It just kept getting pushed back for other things. So hopefully I'm going to get to it in February, but if I don't, I will definitely read it in March. It's not going into another TBR after this one. It's going to get done. With it being book 3 in the series, I'm not going to say anything. If you've not read Mistborn, read it. It's amazing. Now this next series I'm nervous to finish because I've seen very mixed feelings about the final book, and it is The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. So this is book 3 in the Poppy War series, one of my favourite series that I started last year. Absolutely loved the Poppy War, one of my favourite books of the year. Was a bit lukewarm on the Dragon Republic, which is book 2. The first half, the setting, just wasn't really my thing, but the second half of the book really brought it back for me. So I'm really eager to read this book, but I'm nervous because I've seen people really hate it and I've seen people really love it, and I don't know where I'm going to lie. So we'll see how it goes. The next book, not nervous about it at all. I'm almost positive I'm going to love it because of how much I loved the first book. And it's Fires of Vengeance by Evan Winter, book 2 in the Burning series. So book 1 is Rage of Dragons, one of the best books I read of 2020. I know a lot of people hate it, mainly hate it for the main character, Tau. I loved following Tau, I loved the action, I loved the way Evan Winter wrote battle scenes. Absolutely amazing book, and from what I've heard, it's much more of the same in the second book, so I can't wait. I know I'm going to love it, and if you don't like Rage of Dragons, you're wrong. Sorry. So, last book on this 10 book TBR is another series that I've kind of been putting off because of the last book I read. I read the first 3 books in 2020, and this is the 4th one, and I hope I'm going to love it. It's Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan, book 4 of the Wheel of Time. So this series doesn't need any introduction. It's absolutely massive. Amazon are making a TV programme of it, which hopefully will come out end of this year, start of next year. Now, book 1, Eye of the World, really liked. Loved that you could see the influences from Tolkien. I just thought it was a really good book. Book 2, The Great Hunt, absolutely loved. Amazing. Did everything in the first book, but better, in my opinion. The third book is where it fell down for me a little bit. There's certain characters that aren't my favourite to follow. There's a certain setting that I just find quite boring, and we spent a good half of the book in that setting. And I just didn't like it. Now, the second half of the book did bring it back a bit. Enough that I do want to continue the series, and I've heard book 4 is a lot of people's favourite book in the entire series. So I hope I'm going to love it, but just going to need to wait and see. So those are the main 10 books that I definitely want to get done in this first quarter of the year. Some of the other books that I'm going to try and squeeze in if I feel like it. I want to continue the Discworld books. I've read Guards, Men at Arms and Colour of Magic so far. I want to continue with that. I want to read Feet of Clay and The Late Fantastic pretty soon, and I'm almost positive that I'm going to love them. I've loved those 3 books that I've read completely. Discworld is amazing. You should read it. Another series I want to start is The Witcher. I never played the game, but I watched the Netflix series, the first season, and I know the second season's meant to be coming out this year, I think. So I want to at least read all the short story collections and hopefully the first book of the 5-book series. Hopefully, so I'm going to try and squeeze in the first book of short stories in this first quarter and see how it goes. So guys, that's it from me. That's my Q1 TBR of 2021. If you've read any of these books, or if you plan on reading any of these books, put it down in the comments, chat away. And now I've changed the name of the channel. I've changed my name in the Discords and on Instagram to A Journey for the Pages, as you'll see. All because I came up with a really cheesy sign-off line that you're going to see now if you've made it to the end of this video. So I hope you loved the video, guys. I'll see you next time, but until then, enjoy the journey. Bye.